Are we? There we are.
Yeah, there we are.
Evening, everybody. It's Sunday night, day of rest and relaxation.
I watched a little football.
Well, it's too. My football team, fantasy, is not doing too good.
Yeah, the boys actually, because there was a little Lana Lou who was leaving and had a brunch lunch thing, and knew it was maybe an option. But I talked to the boys, and they were like, especially Seth. He's like, I want to watch football with you. I was like, all right. So I let her know. Just hanging out on the couch watching football. No brunch lunch for me.
Oh, you're drinking whiskey at least. I've been drinking water. I needed to detox a little bit.
Yeah, Mirador. You know, I didn't have as much last night. I don't know if I had too much bread, or I usually don't eat a lot of bread and chips lately, and I got like a acid stomach. It wasn't from the whiskey, so you probably noticed last night I wasn't drinking that much.
Yeah, well, it was more to me the accumulation of Friday, of course, through the day, shooting some episodes, meeting at the hotel, having the tasting, going back to the hotel. And then Saturday afternoon, we did a few more live streams, some more tastings, drank whiskey at the hotel, went to the All Things Barbecue, back to the motel.
More whiskey, good whiskey.
But yeah, it was all self-regulation.
Yeah. That's a point I'll hit on later. Remind me to come back to that. But yeah, Jason, coach, you're right. KC is killing it. They still look really good, and their defense is really stepping up.
I'm playing my cousin tonight in fantasy football, and he has Mahomes and Hunt.
He's gonna have a good year.
And I thought if they can shut those guys down at least for half of the game, might be all right.
Well, your only hope. Well, yeah, it's too late now. Even I was going to say you're hoping they might just pull some of them out, let them rest.
So, yeah, I think it's too damage is done. Mahomes had 50 points at halftime.
Yeah, damage is done. So double whammy. Somebody says yes.
Yeah, what do you do?
Dog. Hello from Florida. Hello, bird dog. Ooh.
Good time. Thanks everybody for your support. This is really just a quickie, really. Bart's terms.
I got my Lefroy t-shirt on. Bart's terms. Yeah, I don't know if we'll stay on too late. We've done a lot of airtime. We've actually posted a bunch of videos, live streams and everything. But I kind of did have the urge to come on just tonight, kind of our normal Sunday, and just talk about some of the high points, or at least your takeaway, my takeaway of the event as a whole.
I thought it went really good. You know, we kept it pretty easy. We had other people taking care of most of the details for us, so all we had to do was show up. So
yeah, we had the professionals do their thing, which was serve the meal. Really, I mean, the professional Ben doing the serious tasting with SMWS. All Things Barbecue, perfect laid back place. You know, they had Kansas has this liquor license where you can bring your own bottles into little events like that. They're not selling any alcohol or anything, and that worked out perfect. I'll segue in. That was one of my really surprise highlights. As awesome as SMWS is and was, and the tasting was great, and we drew in a ton of people that wanted to try some very unique whiskeys. Boy, howdy, did the unscheduled, unplanned, we knew it was going to happen, but the whiskey that was brought in by the fans was astonishing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just wonderful. I mean, that would be that's one of my highlights of the event, was not just the people coming together, but even the whiskey that they brought and shared. I kept feeling like, I know Roy Aquavite was there in spirit, but it's like everybody has his message. You got to share the whiskey. Not got to, you want to.
Yeah. Somebody asked if we had any troublemakers. The only two troublemakers was Amy and Lana Lou, really. There, Cato is asking.
That's right. Yes. Yeah, they were the troublemakers. No, there were zero troublemakers. That actually segues me into the other thing. You know, when we talked to management and talked about how awesome their front open, high ceilinged, huge foyer was, and how we knew it would be a natural gathering place. And they said, well, there's just a little personal policy that we have on alcohol there, but knowing you guys are a whiskey group and aficionados, we're going to just waive that internal policy. And they were a little worried, hey, keep the noise down. I think non-whiskey drinkers hear a crowd of 20 to 30, right, which is big, and whiskey, and they immediately have like alert, red alert, Star Trek things, and clank, clank, and they just get worried. And of course, none of that. I mean, it was, you know, I think the non-whiskey drinkers think it's maybe about consumption. And then when you've got these beautiful bottles out there, it's really about the deliberate tasting, not the deliberate gulping. Probably not probably, the one thing we did, we broke a rule 2 nights in a row, and that was no playing music on the piano. They had a big sign. And who turns out to be a piano aficionado? Well,
the manager, the night manager, actually broke the piano open for us.
I know. It was just I was just kind of bringing that in. Ben Dietrich kept Instagramming, and he would always purposely position this like professionally made sign that says, "Please, no playing the piano." And of course, the night manager, is the one playing it at first and singing. And then who was the other person that was a piano star?
Drew
from
Four Dummies.
I mean, they just went at it. And we sung the Piano Man as a group, a bunch of us last night with Cousin Shane and Shakes Pennington, even doing acoustic guitar. That was just, I mean, I felt like it was 1940s and you know, we were all gathered around a piano. So that's the only rule that I saw broken. And I got to tell you, so the people and meeting, you know names, and then you get to meet them in person, and that's huge. You know, the open graciousness of everyone and the sharing of the bottles and just the fun time. The highlight for me by far was the hanging out in the lobby.
Well, and I see Jason Coates is tuning in from Manhattan. Manhattan, Kansas. He came down, hung out with us.
Yeah, Dirt 117, not hung over at all.
No.
More of it was talking. A lot of times we were even doing some extra filming. So you might have literally 12 hours of video work on and off, you know, not a straight 12. You know, but it's that kind of engagement that's going on with filming at the same time. So there's just like my voice was definitely getting a little stressed.
Hoyt Hempill's tuning in. He was down here for the weekend. Thanks, Hoyt.
So
just going through, I was looking to see if anybody else, a lot of people tuning in still again.
Yeah, Donner passes, they think riot. Yeah, they hear whiskey and 20 to 30 people, and they're like, wow, that could go bad. And then so far, everything we've been at, they're always pleasantly surprised.
Tom R's tuning in. Jason, the Mash and Drum, Haas Formula One fan. Donner Pass Whiskey, Zach Andrews, Whiskey is the Best, Bird Dog, Food Quig, Captain Make It Happen, Ong Gia, Bud Matthews, Chad Adams.
Haas says, so I finally downloaded NASCAR to watch, but you guys decided to go live. What should I do? You're doing it, brother. You're sticking with us.
We're not going to be that long.
No, this will be quick.
I'm actually surprised Bart's drinking a whiskey. So I've been detoxifying the body.
Well, again, I think I took it actually quite easy last night. I mean, I really, really did. So I love Sandeep, dude. He came up to me like twice. Like, usually you're very loud and you're talking all the time. Are you okay? You know, because we were in person. And I'm like, yeah, actually, Sandeep, I've been on like 4 shows already, so I'm kind of resting. I think he thought maybe I was under the weather. He's like, okay, and shake the hand, and so that was awesome.
Where is that? Oh, Cade Webb broke out his own ECBP B518 to drink with us last night. There's what's left of the bottle I took down there.
I think Drew by himself drank half of it.
Yeah.
You saw him in the one post on their show. The little thumbnail was them holding that bottle with you and mugging for the camera.
Oh yeah.
I think you had a big effect on them though by having them try that bottle.
Oh yeah.
So give me I've thrown out a couple. I got a few more highlights that I actually made notes down here, but what are some of yours?
Oh, you didn't tell me he's going to make notes.
Well, you know my memory. You would have said, what are some of your notes? And I would have been like, what? Huh?
Well, Bird Dog says after 12 hours of boom, he would think that this event would have been a cakewalk. I mean, it really was pretty easy. It wasn't that bad. If we do it again, and someone asked, are we doing it again? Donner Pass Whiskey is asking if we're doing it again next year. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe every other year, maybe, but it might even be something we do, even every 5 years.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. At the least. That's what originally, when we started planning this one, I thought the next would be the 10th anniversary.
Yeah. I've got some, I'll throw out a few ideas on that later too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, maybe we do it. I think we have something to tie in with it. Get a little bit more draw. I'll tell you what happened. My highlight really Saturday afternoon, hanging down, doing some live streaming. We went live with Eric Wade on his channel. We did a pre-recorded blind panel with Drew and Mark, the 4 dummies. Ben was in there with us and Eric Wade on that. And then we went live on our channel. And I thought we'll be down here at the motel about 1. That gives us till about 4:30 to do some stuff, and that'll be plenty of time. And that afternoon went quick. I mean, before I knew it, we were having to wrap it up and get stuff packed up and down to all things barbecue. So, yeah.
Well, you hit. That was actually one of my little bullet points. Was, I'm thinking the highlight of the day will be over at All Things Barbecue, and it was great. But I too was stunned by those little panels we were doing, starting with Eric Waite, who was all set up, and then we're doing the deal on the Scotch 4 Dummies, and we do the little blind tasting. Go check out their show. I don't want to give any spoilers away on what we were tasting. I think
they haven't posted it yet.
Oh, well, then definitely.
Yeah, because we weren't live. Remember, that was pre-recorded.
Oh, yeah, you're right. So, obviously, just know there's this really cool pre-recorded blind tasting we do there with a really diverse panel. Our deal, we're what I call the human wave. So
the human wave.
Well, it was funny. Now see, I'm sitting there thinking we filmed so many shows back to back. Ours was live, right?
Our last one yesterday afternoon.
Put that up on Patreon. I started thinking because we were filming even with the same setup, just changing out MacBooks and stuff. But the human wave was, I noticed, I was looking and I thought the crowd in front of us is building. And I didn't know what was going on, but I could tell something was going on. And Amy made the first move. I'm like, oh, here comes Amy. Is she coming on the show? And then everybody just came in behind us and everything. It was awesome. I love that.
Shimon is tuning in, and he said the Zimas was an epic ending.
That was Scott's idea. And put Whiskey Scout on task, gave him a mission.
Well, we should, and I wish I would have thought of that. Well, it ended up okay, but
made for the story. Really,
I think Friday night I was considering it, and Saturday morning before I came to pick you up, I thought I'm going to run by the liquor store and get a couple cases of Zima, surprise everybody. I think that's going to become a dummies thing now, and Zima's going to have to be tied in with the Zimas with the dummies at some point, and anything we do.
Here's all I'm saying. We're going to get huge, and then Zima's going to come in and be like, we want to shoot commercials with you guys.
Yeah.
They'll be like, you're these whiskey dudes, but you still drink Zima. And we'll be like, yeah, it's a little tongue-in-cheek, but heck yeah, as long as you're up for it.
But yeah, and then so I go to the store and they're like, "Oh, we haven't had Zima since the summertime." I was like, "Oh man, I missed out." So I'm picking up Bart and I'm thinking, wonder what Whiskey Scout's doing. So I called him up and I said, "You got anything to do?" Nope. I said,
Yeah.
"We need some Zima."
You know what we need to do? We need to create a cocktail that marries a certain whiskey with the Zima, and maybe do a little something, something. I got a few ideas in the back of my head, and then it becomes the STD. New cocktail, the STD, and they'd be like, "What?"
Jason Coates says, "Glad we liked the bum rush. That was his idea. That was a good idea, and I've rewatched that live, and it rolls real good there. Everybody coming in, so
it does. Thank you, Jason. Yeah, it was funny. I saw this. I literally called it a wave. It looked like a wave was building, and suddenly it began to crest. So I was yelling, "Security! Security!"
Whiskey is the best," says Bart and Scott. "Do we need Zima for next weekend?" What's next weekend? Oh, no, that's Matt. I forgot who whiskey. I just remembered who whiskey is the best is. In fact, next Saturday night, we'll be going live with Matt. He's down in Dallas. He's hosting a tasting at his house with Westland and Brooke Lottie.
Yeah.
So we're actually going to live stream with them from Matt's house. I think it's going to be 7 o'clock Central or 6 o'clock Central next Saturday, Matt.
Got it. Yeah, we'll be in there, so that'll be fun.
And then Haas Formula One fan says, "By the way, cousin Shane can sing, and the guy that plays the guitar, that's Shakes Pennington, can definitely play."
Yep, old Shakes. Yeah, that was awesome. Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah. Give us another highlight from yours. I'm looking over at my list. I got an overall whiskey focused one. I'll bring up later.
That was the Zima moment was pretty good. That was just a nice surprise. Everybody, I think, got a good kick. And I figured we would be tossing some of it down the drain. I knew not everybody was going to drink it, but.
Well, all things barbecue people were laughing because when I was helping clean up near the end, I was grabbing bottles that you could tell had been opened and maybe 1 or 2 sips were taken. And as I was pouring them out in the sink, they were like, "Oh my God, who didn't drink their Zima?" So they were just, they were like, "Another one?" And I was like, "Sacrilege." So yeah, that was funny. They loved it, man. They came over, their chef came over and said, "Man, that was hilarious." He goes, that was epic. And we've got to talk with them. Their channel's blowing up. I mean, it's huge. And we're going to sit down with those guys and see if we can do a little collaboration. So that'll be fun.
Edmonton Scotch Club says, "Congrats on 5 years. Thank you. Appreciate it."
Yeah. And then another surprise was when we finished at the Scotch and Sirloin, which a lot of people, it's funny, thought that was like the name of the event. The restaurant's actually called the Scotch and Sirloin.
Yeah.
The one thing that stunned me that I didn't know they were doing an entire exterior remodel. We pull up and all you're looking at is Tyvek and construction zone. And I was like, holy moly, that's not what it looked like. I don't know. I think I went by it maybe a month ago or something. And
kind of 2 drops of pee came out when I pulled in the lot. I was like, "Ooh!" I was like, "Oh no, that's got to be open."
Yeah, I know. And nothing even said what it was. I mean, they had their sign out front, their big marquee sign, but they're doing this real new modern look, which is good because the Scotch and Sirloin always kind of had, slap me in the face, but I always felt like it was an old man's restaurant bar. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And getting inside when we were setting up our banner, I was looking at their architectural drawings and photos, paintings or whatever, renderings. And it's got the huge S. It looks real modern. And that's exactly what they told me they were going for, the owner and the manager. And then when we were done and I was squaring up and you were going live, that was cool, by the way. I get told, because they have some really expensive scotches there. And they're expensive by the pour, but they do pour. And the owner and the manager said, we really like what you guys are doing. would you be interested in coming here sometime before we open, and we can pull some of these more exclusive bottles down, and you guys can taste them and talk about, you know, where you're trying them. And I'm like, that sounds phenomenal. And so that we're going to work on that too. And that was completely, I mean, that wasn't planned at all.
Yeah, we need to stay on top of that and get that one done while the iron's hot.
Oh yeah. Carl was all over that. I mean, like I said, he said, look at these Macallans over here. And I'm like, yeah, I see them.
Cato is asking, what was your single favorite whiskey at the event, Bart and Scott? But you go first.
All right. Well, it ended up being the Cab Calloway, the Stranahan's Cask Thief, which I didn't even, it just stole the show for me. It really did. And that was there'll be a show coming out on that soon, Wes Jolly. And I'm forgetting, I know he's got his club, but who's he write for again, his podcast? Or it's not his podcast.
Modern Thirst.
I talked over
Modern Thirst.
Modern Thirst, that's right. And I'm
Modern Thirst. Are you there?
Yep, modern.
Either me or you's cutting in and out there.
Well, knowing my system, we just spent some money today on a new router and some new equipment,
new modem and router and patch set for you, basically.
Yeah, the mesh. It's going to be the mesh system. Sounds good.
What's funny is I've been telling you, this is just like the diet thing at work years ago. You never listened to me. You go up north and you start working with someone else, and all of a sudden you're on a new diet.
Yeah, but you wanted me like
I've been telling you to upgrade your equipment, and you're like, no, it's fine. It's new. It's from the company. It's new.
You wanted me to eat.
And then Drew says, hey, you need to buy your own equipment. And you're like, all right, I'm buying my own.
Well, see, you're like nebulous, like you need new stuff. And Drew was like, you need the Asus 3.1 triple gig hook in, boom, you could have a signal 5 miles away that your mom can jack into. And I was like, what? And I'm like, well, I kind of got a couple floors here. And he's like, and you tie in with the mesh system 3.75295.725, and I will send you the links. And I was like, what? And yeah, so I mean, he was like breaking down some detail. I was like, wow. So yeah, let's be fair. You were like, you need new system, it was like that. And then he breaks in with like, it was like I was talking to a tech droid. It was awesome. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that was good. Just before I forget though, my top whiskey, I'll tell you what, that the Stranahan's, our review of it, that's Wednesday that's coming up. The Cask Thief, which is a distillery release only, is a surpriser. I mean, it's got a lot going for it. Next to that, Lana Lou brought the Cavalon Cask Strength Sherry.
Yes, that was it, boy. Juicy.
I really wanted to drink. In fact, she got me a sample before she ran out of it.
Yeah, so, that was unbelievable. Oh, that would be the other one too. That I'll never say it. The Green Spot, and I always forget it's the French wine casking.
Well, they had both of them there. The first night, I think they were two separate ones, but I know that the first night was that Chateau Leo.
That's the one. Same one I had at the vault.
Something.
Yep, same one I had at the vault.
Saturday night, there was a different one there I had when we were at All Things Barbecue, and it was darn good too.
Yeah, that was good too. Same with the again, back to the Stranahan's, that Snowflake, and it was the first night, I can't remember, the big bottle was like the Pikes Peak or something. That was good too, that giant bottle.
Oh, Drew is actually tuning in now. He must have come in here at some point.
I'm scanning. Oh yeah, there he is. Guess I'm a nerd. No, cool. I loved it. That was perfect.
We did when we were in Kansas City, when we went up and met Simon Brooking, we sat down with him in the restaurant of the hotel there. And it got a little noisy at times. There was 3 of us. We had the one microphone for the sit down, basically. And we needed something different. So, well, fact is, Josh Carey at All Things Barbecue we found out he teaches audio visual stuff at Wichita State University.
Mm-hmm.
So we hit him up and said, hey, we need somehow to use multiple mics, live stream it. He hooked us up. He said, here's a mixer, here's the mics, try them out. And so we did, and I think they worked out. The music, I can tell you at All Things Barbecue, the music, they worked really good. I think we still need to fine tune a little bit with it. When we sat down at the table, we had some mics out on it. And just adjust gains and stuff there a little bit, but still, I think they still worked pretty good. Drew used them for his pre-recorded blind panel. Have you had a chance, Drew, to see how the audio turned out?
Jason Coates, by the way, adds in that there was a Deanston 30 there, which I kept going to try, and I always steered left or right and missed it. He said that was his favorite. There was a Bal Blair 90 that was really good. Let's see. Well, that did dovetail into my whiskey epiphany of the event was Stranahans. I hadn't had any of the Snowflake. I didn't even know about the Cask Thief, and I've had their single malt, and I like it. I like their yellow label more than their black diamond. But it had been good, but not overwhelming. And I always wondered, I'd heard Gillespie show and these guys are camping out down there and everything. So when Wes Jolly was coming, he said he's bringing the Snowflakes. I thought, well, this would be a good time to try it. Because, who does that?
Yeah.
And then after tasting it and hearing his stories and everything, it changed Stranahan's in my mind. It like blew my mind. I felt like, wow, now I get it, because I did not get it before.
And Daniel Whiskey Throttle is tuning in. He just got back from Scotland. I think him and Julia both would have loved to made it down here for the weekend.
They would have. I saw him hanging out with Roy.
They did a great, Daniel and Julia both did a great little congratulatory video for us on YouTube, Bart. Go check that out. I just watched it earlier today. Just finally today I had a chance to sit down and catch up on social media. I didn't even, I didn't want to miss a bunch of stuff at the anniversary through the weekend. I really wasn't posting that much stuff. I knew everybody else was. And I posted very little, but do what?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You post some stuff out on Facebook?
On Friday, I did early.
Got it.
And I think that might have been it. I think I was retweeting people, and I might have liked a few Instagram posts, but that was about it.
Well, Ben Dietrich was killing me with these little, his Instagram stuff. He can do these filters or whatever, and they were crazy, man. I was rolling. He walked over me at one point, had the screen flip, so I'm seeing myself in his phone. He's like, say something. I'm like, you crazy, and my mouth was getting all big and everything, and I'm like, what? So yeah, he was all dialed in, although he stunned me when he said he wanted a large t-shirt. I'm like, is that for like a kid you didn't tell us about? You got a young lad, you got a little brother? He's like, for me. I'm like, what? You're like 6'5", dude. How are you fitting in a large?
You just wear yours baggy.
Well, and it turns out he's slender. He likes his shirts to cling. Ben was great. I loved everybody was great. Literally everybody was great.
Well, I see Eric Wade is tuning in as well. Thanks, Eric, for coming here from California. That's a good trip for you.
Yeah,
I really had a blast hanging out with Eric, and I think he'd be a hoot to really,
oh my goodness,
just spend some time with.
You kissed him on his head.
Yeah. Who couldn't? Who could resist that?
Not you. He gave a big old smooch. He kind of looked at me. I'm like, you need to get used to it, man. You're right. Yeah, you're sitting next to the Bruno. You got to get used to the head kiss. It's either a head kiss or a throat punch, man. You're one way or the other there. No, that was perfect.
Give it highlights. Have you touched on them already?
Say that again. You digitized on me a bit.
What's your highlights, or did you touch on them already?
Pretty much hit. My whiskey highlight was definitely my my awakening of the Stranahan's, and boy, do I sure hope they can. I mean, I know it'd be a lot to bring their cask strength out on a larger volume, and maybe they don't even want to do that. I got to tell you, maybe not right now in the moment when we're both a little exhausted. Definitely not December 1st when they're doing their next, at least for me, when they're doing their next snowflake. But boy, I felt I wanted to catch the spirit of camping out down there at some point in time. I don't know if we'll ever be able to do it. You know, we got families and full-time jobs, but I mean, it definitely was in the back of my head about, wow, that's an experience, and we'd be able to use these cool mics we got. So that was one. You know, we kept hearing it and we kept seeing it. We kept experiencing it. And that was Roy Aquavitae's, his credo. It's not whiskey until it's shared. That was on display. He was cited and even brought onto live streams. It's Ben breaks out a whiskey that Roy actually, drew from a cask, and then he shares it with us, and Roy's there in spirit. And then, all these other guys are referencing Roy and bringing it. And it was again and again. And it was really neat to see that, and having just been with Roy and seeing again that spirit, even Eric's talking about, because one thing I was interested in the group we were in is we talked about, I wish there was a big event, and I don't want to stray too far into the board games, but board game events, there's expos where you can buy. I don't find those as much fun. And then there's conventions where it's more of a player's convention. And I would love to find like and not in a drunken way, but in a drinker's convention where we're not the main draw. We're just a thing. Like, we're going to do a live show on a Thursday, and we're there. But there's a whole lot of other stuff going on, and there's no, Eric talked about being at some whiskey expos where everybody's elbowing and fighting to try to get the limited sample at the distant table down there, and it's not a fun. I haven't been there, but he said, it's more almost competitive to get to the drink rather than the enjoyment of the beverage. And that's what I don't want. What we had was what I really want. And I don't even know if that exists anywhere. I talked to him for quite some time, just trying to find out, is there anything close to, in my mind, what I know is a gamer's convention as far as whiskey. So I've got my eyes out. If anybody out there knows of such a thing, no pretension, plenty of sharing, open and friendly, and the after hours events of people just enjoying each other's company and sharing the spirit and Roy's mantra. It's not whiskey until it's shared. I lose you?
Are you done? Wow. I cleared out my email box while that was going on. A couple things up top. I see Whiskey Ace asks, did either of you try the Lafroig 200th anniversary Carchus? That is actually, I had one of the Carchuses. GCAP brought them, and that is the one that I had, and it was pretty good.
Which one did you have? Sorry.
The 200th anniversary Carchus.
Oh, I had the cask strength.
I thought they were all cask strength, aren't they?
There was one that was really, really, maybe it's not finished. It was the heaviest one of them too. I think it was literally called cask strength.
Mark Goins is going to Colorado in November, so I guess he needs to get some cask strength Stranahan's. The problem is that I haven't had the regular. Okay, so the yellow label Stranahan's, there is a cask strength version of. It's not the same thing as what we were drinking. The distillery release only is a single barrel cask strength. This one was Cabernet Franc finished, and was just outstanding, marvelous. And they only sell them in 375 milliliter bottles at the distillery. So Duncan Harmsworth thinks we could do an all-American single malt March Madness next year. So I need to get the cowbell here. It'll be a quick one though. Everybody's in bed. Or almost in bed, probably, from Shimon. Thanks, Shimon. Let Scott talk, Alberto.
I'm honoring that.
Yeah, I don't know. The thing is, the bigger you get, I mean, if we did it again, naturally, I think if you do them again, you want them to grow a little bit. You want them to get bigger. Well, along with that comes more work.
Well, that was why one thing we talked about is if there was a bigger event that we were able to
tie in with.
Right. And we're, because I even thought if there was a bigger event that was a friendly event, I think we would even be able to loosely organize other YouTubers to come to said event so that there would be a great reach of YouTubers along with said event. And, but I still feel like sometimes I feel like the whiskey establishment doesn't quite link in with, the social media yet. I don't know. Am I going too far there?
No, I think it's coming around there. Some do. 2 years ago, very few, if any, did. So I think now some are. There's still some that aren't, naturally.
Lana Lou's in. She says, hi.
Lana Lou, we identified you as one of the troublemakers from the weekend.
You and Amy, you two are wild. Thank you, Lana, for that Cavalon. Delish.
Frank Lampard needs to get his hands on a bottle of Wow.
He does.
There's Matt. I see him back now. Whiskey is the best. Are you thinking were we going to go live at 6 o'clock next Saturday night or go live at 7? And then I still want to hook up with you one more time just to check connection. Lana Lou, I identified the Stranahan's Cask Thief as one of my top whiskeys of the weekend. Next one up, not all of it was number 1 or 2, was the Cavalon Sherry Cask Strength, and I still have a little bit of sample that Lana left with me.
Beautiful. Huh. No, you were great, Lana. Lana was great on that live show. It's got to be, is that the one with she was on a couple, but the Scotch 4 Dummies went live on Friday. So,
okay, Matt. Well, Matt says he can do 6 if that's better for us. 7:30 is when the tasting is going to start the event starts at his house. So yeah, 6 would probably work.
Right. That also would give you time to do what you've got to do being the host. We're just telling you, I mean, trust us. You want to give yourself a little bit of cushion.
Eric Waite says the weather was nice, felt like California. So the walk between the barbecue and the hotel over the bridge was enjoyable. And there were classic cars cruising up and down the road. I don't know if they do that everywhere. One weekend a month, there's a couple of car clubs around with the old Clayton Cruise Douglas.
Yep. Yeah, they get these old, there's a couple car clubs that just cruise. Douglas back in the 70s and 80s used to be where all the kids would go down and cruise. So now these kids aren't kids anymore, and they got a lot of money, and they got nice cars, and they go down there with their 40s, 50s, and 60s and 70 or 1970s cars, and they cruise it. It's real cool. I keep thinking they need to shut that down and just, if you've got a car that's at least 40 years old, you can go in and, you pay a little something, you cruise or something. That'd be cool. I think they could make that more of an event. But no. So, I mean, there's my highlights. The face-to-face fellowship. I kind of mentioned that already, but, there was a few folks that we've like Jesse Boyson, I told him it was kind of similar to what we do with Roy. We've done some live stuff with Jesse. And it was funny because when I first met him, I didn't feel like it was me first meeting him. I felt like we'd hung out many times. And I told him, I said, I hope you don't think that I was underwhelmed. I just feel like we've met and hung out. So, and he was like, no, that's how he felt too. Similar to Roy. So, but it was real nice putting, faces to a lot of the names that were out there. Although I still get thrown by some people have different handles, and then I can't track whose handles with who sometimes.
Richie Z says that Shane and Shake's performing at the end was phenomenal as usual. Yeah, and hopefully the sound was a little bit better. We had some new mics we tried out with them, and I think they worked pretty good. I watched the replay, and I think we had good vocals and good guitar strings being played.
Yeah, Drew says Ben did a great job with SMW. He did a great job. I mean, he really, really did. Yeah,
name tags.
Could have used some name tags. That would have been a good idea. That's probably one thing definitely we should have done.
Oh, a 5th anniversary cake. Yeah, we didn't think about having something like that.
Could have been like, what was that whiskey cake we had that was called a Spotted Dick? No. What? Come on, I served you up.
I didn't say nothing.
Actually, we had a whiskey cake once, and then we did have some Spotted Dick, which is a particular kind of cake.
Yeah, it was actually very good.
Very tasty. All right. Well, it's 10:39.
Yep.
That
was actually longer. I thought we were going to be live for about 15 minutes.
Yeah. Well, it was good. I am tired. And it was fun. It was fun.
I'm not I'm drinking water. I'm still detoxing. That Cavalon sherry cask is tempting me though, sitting here. I'm like,
so juicy.
I could probably have a little bit.
Yeah, so good. Travis H is out. Well, should we sign off? I think Scotch It. You Scotch gods.
Thanks everybody that tuned in. We'll see you later. Thanks for all your support.
That was awesome. Thanks for
the 5 years.
And if you couldn't join us in person, we know most of you were there in spirit. So thank you for that as well.
That's right. Thank you. Cilantro dummies.
Cilantro dummies.